everyone. I am Laurri Garcia. I'm the Director of Public Affairs here at U.S. Army Garrison Wiesbaden, and this is our first edition of Let's Talk About It Wiesbaden for 2022.
All right.
Can you believe it's 2022?
Yeah, it's moving fast, isn't it?
It is. It's incredible. I am here today with Meyer. He is the Chief of our Housing Directorate, which is part of DPW, our Directorate of Public Works. Great jobs they do over there. And we're here today to talk about surveys.
Yeah, it's survey time.
It's survey time. So we've got the annual Overseas Housing Allowance Survey running 1 through 31 March?
1 through 31 March,
1
correct?
through 31 March. And then we've got the FY22 Annual Family Housing Tenant Survey.
Yeah, two different surveys. Talk about on-post and off-post housing. Gives the opportunity for both our residents that are living on post to talk about their community and people that are living off post to talk about their entitlements. Great opportunity.
So the way that you explained it to me is the Army Family Housing Tenant Survey. We're going to talk about the amenities they have in their house, what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see added, a patio, or this or that. The Overseas Housing Allowance, now that affects the money that
money in
you
your
are going
pocket.
to bring in.
Yeah,
Money in your
exactly.
pocket that you use to pay your bills out of the
Yep,
economy.
rent, utility, all that.
Okay, all right, so tell me the importance of doing these. Which, I know they're both equitably important, but which of the two of these do we stress that makes the most difference? Do you know?
It depends on which. So off-post personnel, OHA it impacts one person. It impacts that person who lives off-post, who has a rental contract that receives overseas housing allowance for their rent and utilities. And so if the way the Army looks at this is every year they put the survey out to tell us, hey, what are you paying for your apartment or your house off-post in OHA, overseas housing allowance? Because a lot of people will say the money that I'm paying is not covering, I'm coming out of pocket. So an E5 with 5 family members or 4 family members off post is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so the Army wants to know that. They want to know based on the market area that you're living in. So like as an example, Wiesbaden is much more expensive than Bavaria. So we want to make sure that from an Army perspective, you're getting the amount of money that you need to pay your rent and utilities for the area that you're living in. And so by you telling the Army what you're paying, then the Army can adjust that money to make sure you get what you need and you don't have to come out of pocket.
Okay, and one point that you clarified with me is I'm a Department of the Army civilian. I'm over here, I get housing allowance. This is not for me.
No, it's not living quarters allowance or what we call LQA. It's overseas housing allowance strictly for service members and their families that live off post. LQA is completely separate. That goes for through CPAC, so Civilian Personnel Office, and through the LQA cell. They handle all that. Completely different entitlement than from overseas housing.
So the Overseas Housing Allowance Survey is for our active duty military that live off post.
Correct, and it's very, very good if they, you know, a lot of people see that survey. I know I used to be in the military. I get those surveys. I'd be like, oh, not another survey. But this is one of those surveys where you got to look at it and go, hey, this is affecting the bottom line of money that I'm getting in my pocket. It would behoove me to actually take a minute or two to sit down and fill out the survey. It takes about 5 minutes to fill it out, a little bit of information, and then, you know, that'll impact the money that you're receiving in your pocket.
Well, I noticed that utilities do fluctuate. The rate fluctuates here, and I'm sure that, you know, that does have an impact on people. You have families and kids and the use of the electricity. Maybe the people that lived there before you didn't use as much and they were Americans. So you got to keep up with that.
Especially right now, service providers are actually, you know, if you had a service provider that was providing you with utilities, electricity as an example, that was really cheap, because of the push on electricity right now, they're terminating people and actually making them go on and get different contracts so they actually cost more money. So it's important that people report what they're spending on their utilities and what they're spending on their OHA so they can get that money when it comes in their paycheck so they can pay that.
Now, when we're talking about the Army Family Housing Tenant Survey, we're talking about on-post housing for our military that live on post. Are there some of the things that are tangible that you can tell me that this survey's actually affected here in the Wiesbaden community?
Yeah, great question. So unlike the OHA survey that only impacts that individual and the amount of money they get, the tenant satisfaction survey impacts the garrison and the community. It impacts all the neighborhoods. It impacts what we're doing. We use the survey and the comments that we get from our residents. It's anonymous. So the survey doesn't come from us, first of all. It comes from the Department of Defense, from the Army.
Right.
It's given to a third-party vendor from CEL. They send out the survey. It goes to a link over an email address to the service member or their spouse, whichever email address they gave us when they in-process housing. They get that survey link with a 6-digit code to go in, so it's like a login and a password kind of deal.
Right.
You go in, you take that survey is directly for you. It's one per household. We have absolutely no input on giving you that survey. We can direct you to CEO. We can help you get that survey. I cannot see who sent in the survey. All I get to see when I go into our portal for the data is that I can see the overall satisfaction rates, whether they're high or low, and I can see the comments from the service members or their family members that answered the survey and what they would like to see. And really, I'm not looking for good comments or bad comments. I'll take all comments. I just want to know, what residents want, and what are we doing good? What are we doing bad? What can we improve on? What would you like to see? Those are the things that we act on. So, as an example, a couple of things that we've taken from past surveys was the Wiesbaden project that we did last year in some of the housing areas. Multi-million-dollar project across multiple buildings in Ockham and Crestview and Heidelberg, where we put shutters on the windows. That was a residents came up and said, hey, we'd like to have shutters there in some other houses, but we don't have them. So we did multiple projects for that. One of the things that we recently saw based on some Facebook comments was shower stalls that people want to have put in their apartments and in their homes. So we're looking to do projects across the garrison and all Army family housing to do that. And those are all based on the comments that people are putting in these surveys. So when we see this, we take action on it because we want to improve our footprint, we want to improve the community, we want to provide the best housing that we can for the residents that are here. This is an opportunity for residents to have their voice, to say what they would like to see and tell us what they want to have. We've built playgrounds because residents told us they wanted to have new playgrounds. When we designed Newman Village way back in the 2012 area, they wanted the basketball courts and the tennis courts and skate park and all that. So we added that all to that kind of stuff. So this is really an opportunity for residents to say, hey, this is what I would like to see. We pull all that together, and if we get multiple residents saying the same thing, then obviously that's what residents want to see, and we start working toward that end.
So we've got, this is going to be sent to someone, and if they haven't received it, they can contact your office?
Correct, yeah. So there's two things. One is we've put it out over Facebook through PA,
Right.
through your office, and we've put flyers out. We've got sandwich boards out with telephone numbers that you can call. So there's two things you can do. You can either use the email address and contact CEO directly, or you can call our office on those numbers that we've posted. And one of our staff members will give you the email address that you can contact CEO. And then, because I can't contact them for you, or a staff member can't contact them for you, because they're going to say, hey, here's your link and here's your password.
Right.
We don't want that password. That password is directly for you and your family, one per household. And then, you can take the survey. And what I'd ask residents to do is go back and look in your inbox to see if you received it. Check your spam email, because a lot of times the survey will automatically go to your spam folder. If you haven't gotten it at home, ask the sponsor, hey, did you get this in the email? Because a lot of service members will get them and just go right past them or delete them. And if you did that, fine, that's okay. Contact us, we'll put you back in touch with CEO. You can get the survey and you can take it. It only takes about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That can make a big difference.
A huge difference.
Help you sleep with those reloadings that are in there.
Yeah, exactly.
house.
Or you
Summertime.
play around for your kids, and multiple projects and
Pet parks?
pet parks. All these things that people would like to see. This all goes in that survey. Whether it's something we can do in housing or something that DPW can do in the community, we're all intertwined. So if you let us know and our agency doesn't handle it, we can go to another agency that can, and they can add it to their list. So it's sky's the limit on what you can do.
All right, so that was the FY22 Army Family Housing Tenant Satisfaction Survey.
Yeah.
All right, let's close that one down.
All right.
Now let's finish up on the Overseas Housing Allowance Survey. This is one that you don't have to be sent a link. You don't have to be sent a password. You just go online. Actually, there's a QR code on
Yep.
the
Shoot with your phone.
Click on
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
phone, or you go on our Facebook page. You do
Yep.
exactly the same thing. You fill it out. It's anonymous as well.
Yep.
And this affects the bottom line.
Yeah, it affects your paycheck. It affects what you're getting in your paycheck. So when it's real easy. This survey takes actually less than 5 minutes. And it's, you just go to that link. You don't get a login or a password. You just go there. You fill out some small demographics. Give you a scope. I'm a lieutenant through captain, and out of this many people in my family, and then it'll ask you what OHA you're paying and your utility piece, and that's it. And then it goes into the big pool for the Army, and the Army can see over everybody in Europe how much we're paying, and then they can start adjusting based on the community that you live in to make sure that you get the right OHA. Just like in the States when you receive BAH for a different area. So when I was at JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord, the BAH rate there was lower than it was in Washington DC, but it was higher than it was in other states in the Florida or in the Midwest where like it's a lot cheaper. So it all depends state by state when you get your boss. Same thing your overseas housing allowance. If it's Italy is going to be different than the Benelux. Benelux is going to be different than Germany. Germany is going to be different than Spain. It's just where you're living. So obviously the UK is expensive. So it's important that the people let us know what they're spending. That way they can get the right amount of money in their paycheck.
No, that's great. All right, so we talked about the importance of this. It's all for active duty. Doesn't matter whether you're on base or off base. Both these surveys are for active duty, not for our civilian employees.
Correct.
And we're urging everybody just to check it out, take these, and be a participant. Now, this isn't the only way that you get feedback from your clients, from your your residents.
Multiple ways.
Yeah, multiple ways. I know that you send out a newsletter.
Yep.
We have the ICE program that you can participate in, but then again, we have town halls every quarter, housing town halls. We had to postpone this one. It was supposed to be in February. Now we have a date. It's March 9th.
Yep.
And we urge people to come in, talk to you, ask questions of your staff. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, you can also,
great.
You can also reach us if you go to the Garrison website and click on housing. On the right-hand side of the webpage, you'll see a automatic distro list for email. And you can click on that for on-post housing or off-post housing. And that email address, even though it's just one email address, for on-post housing, it goes to like 12 people. And for off-post housing, it goes to about another 10 or 12 people. I see all of those as well. So if you got questions or concerns and you don't know where to go, you can always go there, email us. We answer all the emails that we get in. We can answer any question that you have. Or if we don't have the answer, we can point you in the right direction. So, please reach out to us.
Well, Don, thank you very much. This was very informative, and I know it's very important.
Well, thanks for having us. Anytime we can talk about housing, it's a good day.
It's a good day, yeah. And we just brought in 2022, talking about housing and ways to improve things and get more money in your pocket, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you for joining us for Let's Talk About It Wiesbaden. We will see you next month, and appreciate you very much. Have a great day.